Hi, and welcome to this installment of Frank and Mary here in Westborough. If you haven't seen this show before, my name is Art Bergeron. My day job is as an elder law attorney at Myrick O'Connell. There are 70 of us at Myrick O'Connell, and so everybody gets to do what they like, and I do like that. But this is not about elder law. It is about my friends Frank and Mary. If you've been to any of my seminars or seen my videos, you know that Frank and Mary's goal in life is to live in their house until they die and be buried in the backyard. And if that's Westborough, that means they want to stay right here. They don't want to move away. And so they should be knowing, and if you're interested in this, you should be knowing the people that you need to know and the programs you need to know about in order to stay right here in Westborough. So my good friend Shelby Marshall agreed to co-host the show with me like a long time ago, like 3 years ago, 4 years, long time. And initially we focused only on issues that we thought were specifically senior type issues, but we really broadened that. As you know, no one knows me, everyone knows Shelby because she's on the Board of Selectmen. So we really wanted this to be broader and to talk to all seniors who are here, who are part of the general population, and therefore, as seniors, may have a special interest in a number of issues that come up. And so we've got some great guests, one of whom you've seen before. Then we have a new mystery guest. Shelby, whom do we have today?
Yeah, so Arthur, great to see you as always. Hello to our viewers out there. And, you know, Arthur, I was thinking that we might become like that Chronicle team, you know, that people say, you know, we just can't get enough of them, right?
Yeah,
that's what we're
I don't know.
aspiring to
I'm
be
hoping.
here.
Well, it's because of the quality of the guests, Shelby. It is
Right.
totally just like Chronicle, right? It's
That's
because of the
right.
great
That's
stories, right?
So I'm really excited today to welcome back Kelly Petralia. Kelly is the Executive Director of Westborough Connects, and I'm a full disclaimer, a board member, proud board member of Westborough Connects, have been involved with the organization for a long time. And she is also joined today by Laura Cernelia, who is the program manager for Westborough Connects. And collectively, we're going to talk about a really exciting event coming up called Westborough for Life. And what it is and why people should come and check it out. We'll also talk a little bit about Connects as well and what it is. So welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, so great to see you. Just kind of let's start with, I guess, what is Westborough Connects? Let's start there. So,
Sure.
Kelly, I'm gonna turn that one over to you because our friends Frank and Mary may have heard of us because we've done a lot of things in the community, offered a number of different programs, and helped certainly during COVID with a number of different initiatives. But what is it?
A program that has come out of nowhere and is uniquely Westborough, Westborough.
Yes, thank you for saying that, Arthur. Yes, so thank you for having us. Again, I love Frank and Mary. I wish every single town had it because I think it's just a great show, a great resource. So thanks for having us again. So yeah, we like to describe ourselves as community connectors. We're a grassroots organization in Westborough. We have a hyper-local focus, though we do touch others in our surrounding communities. They come to our events and they read our newsletters, etc. But we really have a mission of building community connection. We want to see a thriving, kind, and connected community where everybody feels like they belong. And some of that is promoting the great work that's already going on and has been going on for a long time in the community, and the great people that have been here for generations, as well as the new people who have come into town too. So we do that in a number of ways. We host events very often in partnership with others, and that's what we're primarily here to talk about today is one of those events. We also do a newsletter where we like to send out, it's an email newsletter, free, available to anybody to sign up. And we really profile and highlight things that are going on in the community to make us feel really good about things that we are open to us, resources that are available to us, and things that align with our mission. So go ahead.
Kelly, just before we started the go live taping button here, you were talking about an event this morning, right?
Yes.
Connect
over coffee.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and I bring that up not to throw you off in the questions, but because actually just the other day I saw on Facebook, there was a gentleman who was like, I'm new to town. I'm not sure how I connect with people. And I was like, oh my goodness, connecting over coffee is a great way to meet people. So what is that?
Sure. Well, connect over coffee are sort of informal ways. We're going to talk a little bit about like a kind of a big event we have coming up, but we have a few like smaller events that are really kind of more informal and no agenda per se, other than just kind of connect. And so come stop by, grab a cup of coffee. This morning we were at Red Barn. We invited a bunch of our volunteers to come and join us and just kind of talk. Sometimes we talk about what's going on in, in our organization. And sometimes we talk about what's going on with, family, friends, whatever, anything. But it's just really an opportunity to connect in an informal, very like, it's accessible. Like you don't have to have, any sort of sit in a meeting or contribute in any way. So yeah, I'd say to somebody who is new into town and not sure how, is like, we have our website, westboroughconnects.org. You can sign up to our newsletter right there. And like I said, our newsletter every month comes out and it tells you about different opportunities, whether we're hosting them or it's the women's club or the Rotary Club or the library, anything. So yeah, that's a good way for new people to learn about us or learn about what's going on in the community.
Right. Yeah. And I would encourage folks, if you're not yet signed up for the Westborough Connects newsletter, definitely sign up. It's a great way. One of the complaints I hear as a member of the select board is, why don't we have a town calendar? Well, there are lots of reasons for like that we have a town calendar for government related, but not sort of kind of social or civic related. And there are lots of pros and cons to having the town host something like that. But in my opinion, Westborough Connects as a private organization is a great vehicle for capturing that information and again, connecting people to other events and other things of interest. And speaking of things of interest, we have a program coming up called Westborough for Life. And so I think at this point, I turn that question to Laura. And Laura, what is, well, first of all, what do you do, I guess, for Westborough Connects? Let's introduce yourself, please. And then tell us about this upcoming event.
Sure.
And for anybody who asks, how do you pronounce your name again?
It's Cernalia. Thank you. But really, however you want to pronounce it. And I usually just say, just call me Laura. That's the easiest. But I am the program manager over at Westborough Connects. I've kind of been with the organization pretty much since the beginning. As soon as I heard about it, I was in a meeting and heard about it. And I said, this is where I want to be. And this is where I want to put my energy. So I've been with it since the beginning, kind of volunteering, figuring out where I fit in and really helping with an amazing team, put on the programs that have been happening. And it turned into being program manager for the organization, which I'm thrilled to be and love to talk about what we're doing. So yeah, can I talk about the event? Good time? All right, so like Shelby said, the event is called Westborough for Life, Stay, Connect, Thrive. It is a free community program, and it's really aimed at the adults in town, pretty much ages 45 to 95. We want you to come on down to the high school on Sunday, September 11th. It's running from 1 to 4. And the program is really, we want to feature how to connect in Westborough and about all the things about living well in Westborough. And how we're going to do that is through an expo. And we're going to feature community clubs and businesses and organizations in town. We are also having kind of it's adults' turn to go back to school. We're going to have a few mini courses running throughout the day. And we are also going to have an entire gym filled with demonstration and participation of some fun activities. And we're calling that area the funtivities area. So if you've ever wanted to try your hand at pickleball or badminton or cornhole, it's going to be a time where you can come down, watch a demonstration, and then sign up and decide if you want to help, if you want to participate in it and try it out.
So Laura, if we can, let's go a little bit deeper into those 3 segments. So not so much the expo, although very important. I've been very involved in it. I don't want to downplay that. But we do have a handful of, I think there are a couple local businesses. We've got some groups that, again, civic organizations, some of the committees that are represented in town, which is a great way to get involved, will be there as well, and so on and so forth. But if you can talk a little bit about the mini courses that are being offered, and then move to the funtivities.
Absolutely. And I do also want to say this is event is kind of building on from an event that Westborough Connects partnered with other groups to come in 2019 called Aiding Enjoyably in a Connected Westborough. So if you were at that, this will kind of seem very familiar. We're building on that event and the positive feedback we got from that. And also want to mention that we're partially funded by the Civic Club and Westborough Women's Club. Always want to give a shout out to those who help fund us and support us. Very important. Yeah, so the mini courses, they are going to run for 30 minutes, and we will have a schedule of the day up on the website and on our Facebook page, so people kind of know, oh, I want to make sure I'm there for this specific time. We wanted to give people just kind of a taste, a little, like I said, back to school. And those mini courses, one of them is being presented by Black Earth, and it's going to be called Sustainable Living, Composting for a Greener Westborough. Professor Bo Rin Kim is going to be giving a course called Aging in Place, Making Westborough for Life. Catherine Nurse will be talking about farm to table, local and healthy nutrition for life. And we have our historians, Chris Allen, Phil Kittredge, Leslie giving Westborough's early industrial development from straw hats to freight lines. So those for history buffs, they should come on in and listen to their talk. So those are the mini courses that will run scattered throughout the day.
Excellent. And like you said, there will be a schedule that will be posted in addition to our website. So for folks that may be watching but aren't comfortable with the website, we'll also have some published schedules available. We're going to try to get some information up at the senior center, and we'll have some posters around town. So there'll be other information. Certainly, I'm sure our friends at the library will support that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And then as far as that fun area is concerned, it is going to be hopping kind of all day long. And really this event runs from 1 to 4. You can stop in at any time. You could also probably spend the whole day there doing the things. We're having instructors from Westborough Tennis and Swim, as well as Nelson Ball, come and demonstrate pickleball. And Boston Badminton's coming to demonstrate badminton. We are having an instructor from the Senior Center to have people participate in Zumba. We are having Bollywood. If you've ever wanted to try your hand at Bollywood, Ekta Jane from Ekta Dance Academy will be running a demonstration and participation. We're going to have a cornhole area, line dancing. There's going to be a quiet area with Rummy Cube, if you've ever played Rummy, and we're going to have volunteers there. And the whole thing is there will be people there showing you what to do, and then you can try it. And then we hope if you enjoy yourself, you'll continue, the residents will continue to enjoy all these resources in town and continue to do them past the day.
So every one of these things just keeps running. You kind of broken up is this all in the gym, in a gym?
So the expo will take place in the Fisher gym, and all the funtivities are in the Leduc gym. And then the mini courses are in some of the high school classrooms. And we're also having an area, Stephanie Stuklik, who is one of our amazing members of Westborough Connects and a realtor in town. She is behind the movement of the turquoise table. I'm sure you've seen some of them in town, which are really about being front lawn people. Like, it's a way to join communities together and to get to know each other. And she's going to bring her turquoise table as well to the event to kind of introduce it to people who don't know about it. And as part of that area, we're going to try to connect people with common interests so people can come and chat and just get to know, oh, I like to do this, so do you, and just make connections that way as well.
What is, I don't mean to digress, what is the turquoise table?
So it's really, I believe, a national movement. Yeah. And Stephanie, it spoke to her heart, and she has brought it to Westborough. There's a book about it, but it's whereas a lot of people hang out in their backyard and then you're just kind of with your people. It's about going to the front yard and getting to know your neighbors and building community and neighborhoods together. Yeah.
And
so you put a turquoise table on your front lawn and encourage people to come and talk to you.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, because it kind of goes to the essence of why people like urban neighborhoods. Yep. Right, is because there's people actually there's like eyes on the street and there's people around, and you actually bump into like real human beings that you might actually see other than just walking your dog. There actually might be other human beings out you have some lawn chairs and you just sit. Yeah. It's just, but it's so illustrative, I think, of the genius of Westborough Connects, because you're not imposing anything, right? You're just saying, shouldn't everybody be connected? Right. And therefore it just inspires the interests of people who are just thinking about ideas, because they all want, we all want that, right? Who doesn't want to be part of a community?
Right.
But it's so trite, you know, it takes a village and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but it takes really doing stuff, right? And you
Yeah.
folks really, and I guess the other thing that just strikes me, and I know I digress, but that's you know, I'm from out of town, so I get to be excited about this. But it also, in terms of all of the organizations that you just talked about, it helps avoid the inevitable siloing of organizations, right? Because you're all into something and you really, because you really like it, and you're going once a month or whatever, and you're seeing people that you know, but we all have, you know, our time is all, we're all so finite in terms of the amount of time that we have, right? They don't have time to be like kind of running around and doing a million things. And so you tend to not bump into anybody else. And this, it just is a wonderful antidote to that. It's really exciting. It's really exciting.
Yeah, and we really hope, like the event we had pre-COVID, the Aging Enjoyably, we found that there was a high degree of just interaction. I mean, people, you could hear in the gym at the time, people are like, "Oh my goodness, I haven't seen you for forever," and the surprise of folks of how many things there were. I mean, to do in Westborough. There were so many people, or even today, oh, I don't know what to do in Westborough. Oh, you know, there's nothing here to do. You know,
Yeah, even people who are over 17 years old. Who said
yeah,
that.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
you
no,
expect it when you're under 17,
right?
right?
Exactly.
You
No,
kind of,
and
you're going through your bored phase, but you like to think that you get out of that, and then there's other things to do, you know?
right. So there's something for everyone, and that's really what we hope this program will convey, and that socialization, that connectivity, and just an opportunity to meet people. You know, as I always say, it gets so much harder. It's a lot easier to make friends when you're young. When you get older, maybe you've lost a spouse, maybe you've moved here because you want to be closer to your kids, and that's great. Then they take up a lot of your time and you spend time with your grandkids. But as an adult, you need that adult, that adult interaction. They're after me. The police are after me here. But it's hard to just kind of be like, "Hey, want to be my friend? Hey, want to get caught?" I just think that becomes increasingly awkward, or at least it does for me, as outgoing as I am, as we get older.
And by the way, I'm so glad that you define adults as 45 and older. You know, that I tell my clients now, because I do kind of nothing but elder law, so I'm always seeing seniors. And I say, you know, excuse me if I'm always going through the reverse of when I was a little kid. Remember you were a little kid, you know, and like everybody over 25 was like the same age. They were just like old, right? And now for me, it's like everybody about under 50. I'm like, well, you know, are you like just out of college? Are you like, you have 5 kids? How did that happen? And, you know, they all look the same. So that to actually have an audience that starts at 45 is a really interesting notion. That's really
and I think if I could just say quickly, like, I think that what we recognize, I think what we all know is, like, you know, if you've spent your early adulthood building your career, or you've raised a family, if that's what you've done, you know, so that connects you to your community or a community in some way. But this is about sort of the next stage of life. Is like, okay, you stop getting those school emails, or you stop going to your office, or whatever it might be. What kind of keeps you here and connects you in a new and different way?
Right.
Because we want people to know there's just so much here for you. So you don't have to be 45. We're not going to be checking IDs at the door or anything. But, you know, we want people to know that there's stuff here for you as an adult.
Yeah. And we've really encouraged the exhibitors that are coming to come with that idea of, people are coming to say, what is here? You know, what do you do? How do I join? And we've really asked the exhibitors to come with that, like, let people know, how can they get involved? What projects are they doing that you might want, you know, help with? How do people join you and really get involved in town and want to stay here because it's a great community?
So I guess I'm curious, Shelby, I know that Shelby's been actively involved, and I remember sitting down in a meeting, and I recall Kelly was meeting, if I recall correctly. And once again, this is an organization that went from kind of 0 to 60, like in amazingly quickly, and is now kind of thinking about kind of strategically, you know, what does that mean? What does that, among other things, what does that success mean in terms of kind of what else you're doing? I'm genuinely curious, once again, as the out of towner, what have you guys plotting in terms of how are you thinking that this fits into what you're doing now, or what you're going to be doing?
Yeah, I actually didn't even cue Arthur up to ask that question. Sometimes
Yes, you
we
did.
have.
Yes.
No, come on,
No.
Arthur. We're a sincere show here. I'm under oath, right? Girl Scout, right? Actually, great question. We are actually smack in the middle of our strategic planning. And I'm going to turn it over to Kelly or Laura to
Yeah,
talk
I'm
about
gonna
that
grab a
because we just celebrated 5 years. Our organization is 5 years old. And we are, when I think about this organization, it takes volunteers, it takes engagement, and it takes money. So those things, I'm probably missing something, but and it's centered around a mission, obviously, and all of that good stuff. But Kelly, please.
Yeah, and I just grabbed a little prop here, but thank you for asking that question, Arthur. Yeah, so as Shelby said, we're just about over 5 years old now. And over those past 5 years, we've been working really hard at laying a foundation through relationships, really getting to know people, getting to know individuals, getting to know organizations, some businesses, town committees, etc., hosting events that we know the community wants to partner on or wants to go to, our newsletter, all that. So really laying that foundational work. Now, as we look ahead, we're looking to go deeper and to really build that community connection that is so essential in our world. So this is my prop. It's called Together, the healing power of human connection in a sometimes lonely world. And I would love to recommend this book to all of Frank and Mary's friends and family, because really this is Vivek Murthy is the Surgeon General, and he identified an epidemic of loneliness, which I know Frank and Mary's friends deal with loneliness. We all do at every age. And we have connections with our families, we have connections with our friends, but then there's also this level of community connection that is critical. And that's what we're trying to do with Westborough Connects. It's a hyper-local focus on grassroots community connection. So as Shelby said, we need to sustain our organization through volunteers, through engagement, involvement, and attendance, and through financial fundraising and building that stability organizationally. So book again is Together.
It's interesting. I remember, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I remember maybe 20 years ago now, reading a book called Bowling Alone.
Yes, it's in here.
It's
He
like
talks about it.
It's like the answer to Bowling Alone, because it was a wonderful book, which I think got pretty broadly read. And if I recall correctly, it was from a professor at Harvard who basically was tracking for all of us who are in, of my generation, and before that, right? The decline in social connectedness from from pre-World War II to today. And once again, the title was really about that. The bowling was like one of those defining things. Everybody went bowling, and there was, and not just bowling, there was a league, and there were a bunch of leagues, and people were all like doing this stuff, and fat people and thin people. It wasn't like you had to be this great athlete, everybody just kind of bowled, right? And there was all of these organizations, and many of which now they're just the shells of the organizations. In some places very active, the Elks and the Eagles and the ones that Ralph Crandon on The Honeymooners would make fun of, from the, see, that's way before any of your time. But just this note, because he kept talking about where does that put the country? Where does that put the country, as well as all of the individuals? Because that's the essence of America. It's not like checks and balances and voting, and that's a part of it, but all of that works because people trust each other, because they know each other from all this other stuff, right?
Yeah.
So the notion of, and you can't build that at the federal level or at the state, because no one lives in the United States. They live like in Westborough, they live in there. People talk about Boston. I knew quite a few folks in Boston, and there's this illusion that Boston is like people really live in Boston. No, you live in Hyde Park, and you live in West Roxbury, and you live, and when you talk to somebody in those neighborhoods, they'll point to the skyscrapers in the distance. It's like, oh yeah, that's Boston over there, but it's like acknowledging that and building it. It's just such an exciting thing. I'm sorry, but it just seems, it's so interesting. I'd never heard of this book, but it does seem
so,
like
and he
talks
about, he talks about Bowling Alone, and he brings in a lot of examples. Arthur, I think you'd like this book. I think Frank and Mary's friends would love this book. It's about grassroots, back to basics.
Good chance. Good chance. Get me the book.
Okay, I'll get it for you. I actually have a copy for you.
But it's very anyway, Shelby. It's really exciting.
Yeah, no. So I mean, so for folks that are interested in learning more about Westborough Connects, any member of the team, Kelly and Laura are here, but there are lots of other folks. We'd be more than willing to grab a cup of coffee with you, have a conversation, talk about what it is, maybe based on your interests, find ways to get you involved. It doesn't have to be. I always worry that people go, oh God, they're going to ask me to do a million things. No, we have what I love about Connects, among many things. So we have volunteers that help in very specific ways. They're very interested, for example, in Kindness Week. They have a very kind of specific role. They participate and then they kind of follow the newsletter. Maybe they'll attend an event, but in terms of volunteering, they have a very specific kind of interest in. So we want to meet you where you are at, but most importantly, we want to connect with you. And so we hope to see you at Westborough for Life on Sunday, September 11th from 1 to 4 p.m. Go to westboroughconnects.org. We'll put the ticker tape up. Aiden Priority's got that in the background. He's going to cue it up for us. And we'll hope to see you there. And I want to thank Kelly and Laura for being our guests today.
Now, I got one more question for the selectmen. At the end of the meeting, we always have like 8 seconds for Shelby Marshall to say what's going on in town. So
sure,
it's
8 seconds.
We're getting into busy season. What's going on?
Yeah, so obviously starting to prepare for fall town meeting, which will be October 17th. So that work, all the articles are being prepared from various groups, committees and boards. Probably most prominent on everyone's mind is what will the select board do as it relates to 231 Turnpike, which is the old Regal Cinema. So we had 3 bidders submit proposals, but there are actually 4 proposals. So one bidder submitted 2 different options. Those are available. You can watch the replay of our meeting. The information is available on the website. We will be evaluating those. It's a very specific RFP process. So we're going to score them and that will determine basically next steps. We're also going to interview them. So stay tuned on that. That'll be big news for the town.
And now for Shelby, for everyone watching, they're all wondering right now, are you outside?
I am outside. I'm actually
because your hair was just blowing, and I'm sure that I and everybody else said, "Wow, I wonder if Shelby's outside."
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
You know,
It's my,
like this.
I have like a blower, so like it gives me that
Well,
sort of
that's why I
like,
wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if you had kind of like a stage blower that was kind of just.
it just gives me that very, that effect.
Yeah, like in Singing in the Rain, the kind of the lady that then the dress goes off, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, folks, we all digress, but that's the nature of this show. So. Thank you very much to both of you. Thank you, Laura. I won't tell you the last name. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Kelly. Shelby, it's always a pleasure. This is just a wonderful treat for me. So, folks, this is a really good idea. You ought to go to this. You ought to be supporting this. This is the essence. This is why Westborough is evolving into the community that it is. It's a special place, evolving into someplace even more special. So you ought to go. So thank you very much, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next installment of Frank and Mary here in Westborough. Thank you.